Hey guys, so I hope everything has been going well. I really hope everything has been going well. Really? I haven't been in front of a camera like this in a while, or at least it feels like, and just by myself especially. I haven't forgotten about my YouTube channel at all, and I know that I might not be posting as often, or maybe usually now just once a month, but that's not gonna be forever. And there's so many things I want to explain about that, but I'll get into that later with the overall theme of this video. So the time, it is November 21st, 2020. So if you are in a different time watching this, or if you're watching this currently, basically 2020 has been the year of insanity. And the only way I can think to explain that is there's been an environmental crisis with insane wildfires and horrible hurricanes and storms and natural disasters and droughts and murder hornets, and agriculturally, environmentally, it's been disastrous. There has been a public health crisis with a pandemic that has killed people around the world and devastated economies in every single country practically. There has been an uproar of racial injustice and an uprising of awareness of racial discrimination, and it's been building up for so long. And on top of that, all of these things have created even more a mental health crisis, with everyone going through all of the events this year and everyone processing it differently. And so in this video, I wanted to address the idea and the feeling of just feeling lost and feeling tired, feeling drained, feeling exhausted, feeling incomplete, feeling sluggish, all of those thoughts and feelings that could arise from all the things that have happened this year. Now, obviously, we have to watch the news sometimes. You're at least hear the news, even if you don't watch it all the time. A lot of us do have social media. If you're watching this video, then you follow one, if not many other profiles. And that's one thing I wanted to address firstly, is that social media is a highlight reel. So anyone that you see on social media, what they're doing, if it's fun or if it's happy or if it's about themselves or in any other way that paints a picture, they're absolutely struggling with something else that you won't see. And that's something I want to address too with myself, that social media, a lot of times, not for everyone, and even not for me, but for the most part, it is a highlight reel. So you always have to remember that when you're looking at Instagram or YouTube or TikTok or any sort of app. Social media is good and bad. It's not inherently bad the way everyone says it is. There's bad, there's self-comparison, self-defeat, you can be too critical on yourself, and there's a lot of vanity in social media, but there's also good things about social media. We can connect like never before. There's pages where you can learn about things, learn about the world, learn about different cultures, learn about the environment, learn about positive things that'll impact you. There's good and there's bad in social media. And with that, I want to say, it's up to you how you use it. It's a power. And with power comes responsibility. I've always tried to reflect that in my social media, and I try to be as authentic as possible. But in this video, I'm also going to talk about a little more of my personalized 2020 experience and not as much of the highlight reel in whatever way you see from all the things that I do. The channel is called Felipe's Adventures, and it is adventures, and I do also like to have fun, and I go on a lot of adventures and make really nice videos, but that's a part of my life, and it's not everything in my life. I'm doing this vlog right now at the end of 2020, but there's still so many videos I have to make. Even videos from 2019. Like some of the videos I'm thinking about off the top of my head that I still haven't uploaded here. I was in the Disney college program, and I didn't get to finish all of the events and videos of the things I did in that college program. I got to walk and represent Disney in Pride in October 2019, which now seems unreal of a crowd of people or a festival, but I still haven't finished that video. I went to an awesome music festival and danced and made so many memories and grew a lot with Leo, and we had so much fun, and I still haven't made that video yet. I still haven't summed up my Disney college program in an entire montage video. I still haven't covered my summer. I still haven't covered a lot of videos of different things, and I'm working on it, and that's the best I can say right now. And that contributes to a lot of my mental struggle with 2020 especially, is that even though a lot of us are not going outside, we're not traveling, we're not doing a lot of the things that we're used to, and we're inside, especially for me, I'm inside very often, not all the time, but very often, that doesn't mean that I have more free time to edit videos. I have talked extensively about balancing engineering and filmmaking, and I think I've been able to do a decent job at it for the most part, but I can't do it perfectly, and I completely understand that, and I'm aware of that. I'm aware of my situation, especially as I'm getting close to finishing my engineering degree and going off into the professional world. It's getting increasingly harder and more mentally demanding, and especially not being at a university, not being with your friends, not studying in person, face to face, doing everything online the same way everyone is. It's a huge adjustment, and not everyone can be prepared for that. I know for myself, being on the computer all the time, studying all the time, working all the time, and then having to edit videos on the computer, for me is very draining. It's very mentally draining, and especially videos take it's a lot of mental work to create something, and I love it so much. I love it, love it, love it, and I wouldn't change it for the world. But creating art does take a lot of mental work, and sometimes I'm mentally tired. It's mental fatigue, if that makes sense. And while I'm so busy with engineering, I feel like I'm drowning in the amount of videos that I still have to finish. And then on top of that, I'm extremely self-critical on myself. I'm hard on myself. I say, Felipe, you're so behind. And then there's videos that get forgotten because it's been too long and it feels weird to upload a video from so long ago. Or an example, when I uploaded like my Texas video, I uploaded that in April, I think, but the trip, I went to Texas in August of the previous year. That's how long it takes sometimes to make some of these videos. And I get so down and I get angry with myself that I'm not performing well enough. And that's a big theme with a lot of 2020, and I'm sure a lot of people have experiences that they're not doing enough, or they're not achieving enough, or successful enough, or they're not where they want to be right now. I know I felt that a lot. My 2020, besides engineering and all the other things I've talked about, there's been lots of good, but I want to briefly address some of the other stressors that I've dealt with in 2020. So my number one fear is thunderstorms. That is my absolute number one fear. And yes, I've grown up in Florida, I live in Florida, I've grown up in Miami, tropics, yes. I'm still terrified of thunder and lightning. That's my number one fear. My number two fear is anything to do with blood, with cutting, vampires especially, but those aren't real, but vampires and knives. Anything to do with needles, with cutting, with slitting, anything. And I cut my finger open in May. And it was briefly mentioned in one other video, and it wasn't that big of a deal, but it was actually semi-traumatic experience for me. There was a lot of blood, and I had to go to the hospital. It was extremely painful, and I had to get stitches, and seeing part of your flesh and blood oozing out was a huge stressor for me, and I had to deal with that. And to this day, every time I cook, I'm still afraid, and I'm especially afraid when there's two people in the kitchen, because I don't like two people in the kitchen because I'm afraid with knives and that someone could walk into someone else, so that was something that happened in May that was really stressful. In March, when everything was exploding, I remember I had a huge career trajectory to be an engineer for theme parks, for Disney and Universal. I had an amazing experience in the college program, and I was in the process of transitioning to a professional engineering internship and then to a full-time offer. And my boyfriend was in the Disney college program as well, and he's more of a techie engineer. He's computer engineering. But basically the point was I was on track to a career in theme parks, and all of that has changed. The parks, while they've actually now been able to maintain a decent normal now, they're not hiring anyone. And I had to completely change everything I had thought I wanted to do with my life and my career because of this pandemic and because of what's happened in 2020. It was really hard for me to say goodbye to Disney and Universal and theme parks and so much of what I had loved for so long. And that was a big transition for me, especially having worked so hard in engineering already. My boyfriend and I moved in together. That's not part of the list of bad things, but it is a big thing. And especially us having quarantined for months before moving in together officially, it's been hard. It's been difficult because you're not able to live your normal life with so much up in the air right now with the world and with COVID and with staying inside and with masks and social distancing and getting the tests and people being afraid and not being able to hang out with many people and spending every single day with my boyfriend. It's been really good, but it has been intense. especially in this year that's unlike any other year we've had. I tested positive. It came out of nowhere. I was completely shocked. I had been careful for so long. I'm a big social person, and I'm always out at clubs and dancing and meeting people, and I had stopped all of that in March when all of this was going down, and I had been really, really careful. So when I saw that a test came in positive, I was shocked, and I had to go down the line and tell every person that I had seen, and then the friends were, and it was just a chain reaction of people that were affected. And what's crazy about it too is I don't know why this happened. I tested positive, I was never sick. And on top of that, any person that I had seen, which was not a whole lot, but it was, I had seen people within 2 weeks of me testing positive. None of them were sick either. And I had taken another test within 24 hours of that positive test, and it came back negative. So I was shocked, and I still to this day don't understand why, but that was a huge stressor, and that was a big experience that to this day has been really stressful, and I have not really spent that much time with my family since then. I've been very to myself because of that experience, and technically I've had COVID already, but I never was sick, and no one around me ever was either. On top of that, I'm a huge extrovert. I get my energy from experiences, from going out and adventuring, meeting people, going dancing, learning from different perspectives, and being around others. And I get my energy from activity. I'm a very active person. And I know for a lot of extroverts, this has been an extremely hard year. My boyfriend is much more introverted than me, and he's adjusted very easily, much easier to a lot of the situation than I have. But it's still been hard, especially our balance. I'm trying to balance that relationship because I'm a huge extrovert. He's more introverted. I'm struggling with all these things happening in the world and with my own personal life, and having to balance that relationship has been stressful as well. Dealing with the holidays, it's November, and we went through Halloween, we're about to go through Thanksgiving and Christmas, and there's so much up in the air. The tension is really high. We also have very politically divided opinions about where we stand on the virus, what to do with things, and that's been really stressful, and I'm really stressed trying to figure out what to do with the holidays, with my family, Intune. All of these things are not just to myself. I am absolutely positively sure that other people have struggled with different issues the same way I have. And all of these things have at times made me feel very lost, feel aimless, feel tired, feel exhausted, feel just done with this year, if that makes sense. And I'm still the same happy-go-lucky self I am. I'm still always practicing gratitude and mindfulness and positivity, but I can say things are hard when they're hard, and they are. So I have actually come up with a couple tips for dealing with these issues, dealing with this year, and dealing with isolation and just aimlessness and feeling lost and not sure what to do. So I have a couple tips, and I'm gonna read them now. Tip number 1, everyone is struggling with something. It's true. Every person you meet around the world, no one is safe from this, in terms of everyone has had to adjust their life in some way because of what's been going on. Every person you meet has had at least one stressful issue with this year and all of the things that have happened. So understanding that you're not alone, understanding that these problems are not just your own, but that you're not missing out on anything. We're all dealing with different things like this. And even with social media, even if you see people that are traveling this year, and maybe you're not, and you feel like you're missing something, you're doing okay. And everyone is dealing with these issues in the best way they can. And you have to deal with them the best way that you can, in a healthy way. So understanding that these struggles are not personalized, and through your personal struggles that are particular to yourself, everyone is dealing with something, and it's so important to reach out for help, to talk with people, to talk with your family, to talk with your friends, to maintain communication. Even if you're not seeing people in person, that doesn't mean that you can't communicate and keep your brain going, keep your communication skills going, keep your energy levels, don't let them drop down to nothing. Also, The idea of telling someone you need therapy or I think you should see a therapist has been branded so often as an insult, has been branded so often as, oh, I can't believe you're saying that. When in reality, especially when I tell someone I think you should go see a counselor or go see therapy, I say it as, I think you should go speak to someone that will have a completely unbiased opinion and that can medically, psychologically, and mentally help you with what you're going through. They have a degree or maybe they have a certificate that allows them to guide you in the best way they can. So that's what I mean when I say get help and talk to people if you need to do that. Another tip I want to say is find something new you enjoy. I have actually grown a lot. I really have this year. Dance. Dance has been one of my favorite things to do, and it's been hard because I used to go out, get dressed up, go to the club. It wasn't even about alcohol. It was just about going to the club, feeling the energy, feeling the music, feeling the vibrations of people, out enjoying myself, busting out moves on the dance floor. That was one of my favorite things to do, and I have not been able to do that. I have not gone to a club since all the events that have happened in 2020. But that doesn't stop me from dancing. I'm dancing in my kitchen, I'm dancing in my room, I'm dancing outside. If I'm working out, that's cardio for me, and I'm getting my speakers and my music, and I'm moving my body, and I'm feeling active, and that's what really helps me a lot. And that doesn't have to end because you can't go to a bar, to a restaurant, or because your life has been changed because of all the events happening in 2020. Also with that, there's been people on the upside that have posted a lot on social media saying 2020 has been the year of change for me. I've actually been able to do this, and I started learning this language, or I started cooking, or I started doing this new skill or this new hobby, and this has been great, and blah blah blah. And that's awesome for them. You don't have to do that. You don't have to become an expert at whatever it is you're doing or whatever hobby you have. If you're just working on something, or if you're enjoying yourself, that's what's most important. You don't have to be achieving something amazing. 2020 doesn't have to be your year. It's a hard year for everyone, and you don't have to become an expert or a professional at something. If you're just enjoying yourself, like, comme si comme ça, just let it be. Understand your place. So what I mean by that is, especially with the uproar of racial injustice and the outcry for what's happening in the world with racial discrimination, is to understand your place. And what I mean by that is that when there was so much tension in the world about George Floyd, about Jacob Blake, about all these uproars and racial discrimination, I did have those conversations with family and with friends, and that just because you're not out protesting doesn't mean that you aren't furthering a discussion on this and you're making your voice heard. And so I understand my place. I am half Asian, half Hispanic. I look more Asian. I speak English, Spanish, not Vietnamese. I get profiled sometimes in this way. I'm really grateful for my upbringing in Miami and learning this, and I'm also at the same time my place. I'm grateful for my culture, I'm grateful for what I've learned, I'm grateful for food and for a roof and a bed and health at the moment, and at the same time practicing gratitude. I'm also, I would want to find a good job, find stability, I would want to have a happy and healthy relationship, and I'd want to go out and enjoy myself more. And so I'm understanding my place of where I came from, understanding my place of what I can be grateful for, and understanding it's okay to practice gratitude and still want other things in your life. And I understand that as well. And the last one is be proud of yourself. This is so hard to do, and this year is the hardest year ever. Everyone is suffering with something. We're all having a hard time with something. Listen to yourself as if you're another person, as if there's another version of yourself right over there, and you can talk to them and say, Felipe, I'm so proud of you. You've made it through all of these things, and you've made so much progress, and all of this has built a foundation for your future in this way, and this way, and this way, and you're doing great. And you have to everyone has to remind themselves that, and that's one thing I absolutely always strive to do and to keep doing. So I'm doing the best I can. I will keep editing more videos, and it's hard. It's really hard. I'm trying my best, and it's gonna get better. I know it will. And this year has taught me so much, but I've learned so much, and I'm grateful for it. I really am. I'm grateful for how far I've made it, and I want anyone who's watching this should feel the same and be proud of yourself and be grateful. So I'm sending you all gratitude, mindfulness, positivity, and just keep hanging in there, guys, and happy holidays as well.